Peter Piper, got my eyes on her like sniper. Gonna take a girl like swiper. You won't smoke, then get a lighter. I say, what the heck is you doing? I cannot say the other word. All my parents are shooting, my fist be pulled. Hey, you don't have fans, yeah, you may be right, sis. Hit your girl like demolition derby.
Hi everybody, it's Onyx here and welcome back to a brand new video on this channel, and today I'm bringing you either a one shot or a part 1 depending on how good this video does and see how much you guys like it. What if Deku was Lubru? It's an anime that was on Netflix, literally just released a couple of days ago. It is literally called The Records of Ragnarok, and I think it's actually a decent series. It has potential, but they're lacking in some areas, but it's still good nonetheless. If you guys actually seem to enjoy this series, please let me know in the comment section down below. And also, while you're down there, could you guys please subscribe? We're getting insanely close to 2,000 subscribers. It's mental how much you guys actually seem to like these series. And also, we're getting super close to that 2,000 mark. If you guys actually can subscribe, that'll be highly appreciated of you, and I'll pump out more content like this that are long and actually enjoyable. Thank you all, and let's begin. Let's begin with our point of view of Izuku Midoriya at age 5 years of age. Izuku was actually one of the actual kids in his class that actually had the physical strength and actual determination to become stronger. As Izuku, since he was 4 years old, Izuku would try and challenge his friend Kachan or Batsuki Bakugo to fight every single day. Since Bakugo unlocked his quirk, Izuku's been hit with explosions over and over and over again until Izuku hit the ground. As Izuku just kept on getting back up from every single fight, Izuku, more he got hit, the stronger he felt those days. As Izuku one day would have actually came across something that would change his life forever. As Izuku was walking down the street one fatal day until Izuku saw something in the far distance. As Izuku walked to it, as he saw a man in all blenched out black and a sword in hand. Worthless, the man said. You're not a good fight. As the man looked behind him to see a 5-year-old child just staring at him. As the man looked at the kid's expressions, he's not scared, neither in fear. Maybe if I train him, he would be a worthy adversary, he said, mentally. As the man walked straight over to Izuku and asked for the kid's name. As Izuku would have replied saying, "My name's Izuku Midoriya, and I want to be the strongest," he said, innocently. Seems good then. "Kid, you're gonna be my disciple," he said. "Disciple? What's that?" Izuku said. "Well, a disciple is a man or a person like me trained you," he said, trying to get to the same speaking level as Izuku. "Wow, that sounds so cool. Where do we start?" Izuku said. As Izuku would have just asked the man this, as the man would have replied saying, "Well, let's go to your mother and ask her if I would let you train you then," he said. As they went to the Midoriya residence as Izuku opened the door to his apartment complex. "Why does your mom let you go out like this?" he said. "Well, my mom doesn't love me much anymore. After when she figured out what quirk was, she just kicked me out, so I've been just coming back and forth," he said. "That doesn't sound very good," he said. As Izuku would have replied saying, "I know it's not good, but it's the only way I can live and feed myself to live," he said. As this got tugged on the man's heartstrings way too much than what he thought he would. As the man would have put his hand on the boy's shoulder like what a father figure should. "Young lad, I want to train you, and I'm not letting you live within such a dirty, adjusting area," he said. "Screw your parents' permission." As the man said this, "But Mom won't allow me to do that," Izuku said. "Your mom, the way you just pronounced your words just then, kid, it just shows that your mom doesn't love you anymore," he said. "What? Mom doesn't love me? That doesn't sound right," he said. "Well, kid, how about you want to be the strongest with me then? If you can somehow beat me in a fight, let's just say I'll let you come back to this city or civilization, he said. Well, I want to stay here, Izuku said, as Izuku and the man both had a long chat until a door opened. Hey, what are you doing? Inko said, shutting down the door. Excuse me, as the man pulled out his katana to Inko's throat. I hear you've been abusing your child and leaving him on his own. That's not very good parenting, he said, raising his switchblade and katana to Inko's throat. You're gonna tell me exactly what you've done to this young boy, or your young boy is gonna see your throat be slit, the man said. Young man, mister, could you please not hurt my mommy? Izuku said. The man looked back at Izuku. Sorry, young lad, but I need to have a chat with your mom. Could you please go stand outside, please? The man said. As they had a long conversation, as Izuku's or Inko's true self finally arose. Take that little brat. He's quirkless anyways. I don't want him on my hands, Inko said. That's enough for me then, the man said, as he pulled out his katana in a millisecond. What do you think that's gonna do? As the man sheathed his sword back into the hilt. This, as a huge click was heard, as the only thing was heard was a head sliding, grinding against the bone, against the tissue paper that was on Inko's skin being slatted off. As Inko's skin was no more, as she was beheaded there and then. As the man opened the door and told Izuku that everything will be all fine, as he handed Izuku a bag full of his clothes. But what about all my posters? Izuku said. Those are just material items, trust me. Once I've trained you to your full peak of potential, you wouldn't need any idols. You only need strength, the man said. But what about my mums? Izuku said. Your mom gave me permission to train you for the rest of your days, okay? He said, not telling the truth about Inko's death. As Izuku and the man both left that day, as the Mitskis, or Bakugos, would have came to Inko's house and saw that her head was decapitated, as Mitsuki screamed out loud. Oh my god! Mitsuki shouted, throwing up at the sight, as the only person that was staring at this right-handed was Masako. I can't remember her husband's name, I do apologize. As he called the police, as the investigation was sent out, as Mitsuki saw no trace of Izuku. The only thing that was left in there was his All Might action figures and posters that Inko bought, showing Mitsuki that she still loved her child, when she really didn't, the moment she found out Izuku was a weak, quirkless boy. As the search began for Izuku, but after a couple of weeks the police just gave up, looking into Izuku's records, seeing he was quirkless, so they just gave up on him and just given him as missing permanently or dead. In that matter, as Mitsuki was crying to the point she was just depressed, as she locked herself in her room for months, turning to years, turning to a couple of months as well, and that a couple more months added, of course, as she locked herself in that room for a while, to the point less and less money was coming into the Bakugo household, making Masaru actually go out to work even more, making double shifts, double jobs, even if he had to. As Masaru opened the door to see Mitsuki crying her eyes out still into the sheets, as Masaru went up to her and comforted her. But on the other side of the world, we can see a green-haired boy with black tints in his hair, training like he was no tomorrow at 7 years old. As those years passed, Izuku became stronger and stronger, to the point he could basically destroy concrete at age 7 with his bare fist. As Izuku trained and trained and trained with his master, only being able to master all the way to his master's 10% power. Wow, kid, you've learned quite a lot in the past 2 years, the man said. Well, I've learned from the best, Izuku said, smiling, as the man just smiled back. Alright, time for the serious training then. Wait, this wasn't serious? I thought you were just messing about. As Izuku replied, saying that, well, the real training starts now. Alright, take off your weights, Izuku said, when the man said. As Izuku replied and did so. We'll be putting 20 kilograms, instead of killing 20 kilograms like normal, we'll be putting 100 pounds on each limb and your torso, just so your restriction of movement has been decreased, so you can build up your movement speed and your strength along with it, the man said, as Izuku replied saying, yes sir, Izuku said, as Izuku got used to this very fast as the man just increased his muscle mass and training. As Izuku's body got too used to the point, he can literally stand a ton on his entire body at the age of 13. As we cut to Izuku's 14th birthday, as the man said, okay kid, that will be enough training for today, and for the rest of the day. Wait, what do you mean, sensei? Izuku said. Well, I've taught you everything I know, even more. Well, you surpassed me, Izuku, the man said. So for our final bite, or our final battle, I want you to fight me to the death, the man said. But Dad, that would be a very bad idea, as Izuku said that as his head turned away in embarrassment. He finally called me Dad. I wondered when that was going to slip out, the man said. Well, fight me, Izuku, to the death, the man said. Well, no, I won't do that, Izuku said. Too bad, as the man sheathed his blade and charged at Izuku. As the man swung for Izuku's head, Izuku dodged it as Izuku grabbed his spear, swinging it and cut the man's blade in half. As Izuku swung, as the man just dodged, as this fight went on for a couple of hours until the final blow was spilled. As Izuku said, sorry master, as Izuku cut the legs off his master's legs off clean, leaving nothing behind. As Izuku's last final blow ended him. As Izuku's last tear was shed for that very same day. Since then, Izuku dedicated his entire life for training, as Izuku fought bears, lions, tigers, the whole shebang, destroying mountains after mountain after mountain. Izuku became that strong, nothing could face him. At age 14, Izuku could split the clouds if he wanted to, as Izuku wanted to learn something that his master told him about, but still was too legendary or even too lost in time. As Izuku tried to understand what his master told him about the technique, as Izuku managed to get a rough understanding. Okay, grab it by its bottom, lose like a knob head, and that should be the technique's stance. As Izuku grabbed the knob like it was a door handle, as Izuku wind back his fist and let go with everything he had, creating just enough wind pressure to destroy the rock formation that was in front of him. Okay, now I understand, Izuku said. This technique is so strong it destroys even the gods, Izuku said. If I can master this, no hero, not a villain, not even the pros of martial arts could be able to stand me then, Izuku said. But what Izuku don't realize is he's already strong enough, as Izuku did this technique for another 5 more months into the actual 9 months of training, as Izuku did this over and over and over again until one fatal day. Izuku breathed heavily, as Izuku finally had enough and was on his last spear. Come on, please, master. Please, Izuku said, as he focused all of his power into this last blow. Please, master. Please don't let your teachings be for nothing, Izuku said. As Izuku threw back in force of the gods himself, as what happened next could surprise you. As the clouds split in two, creating more wind pressure than normal, creating enough to split the clouds in two, and even destroy a cliff in front as well. As you could see this little destruction that went on for miles on end, like it was an endless straight line of just mental destruction. As we do a little time skip when Izuku started walking back to Japan, as Izuku crossed many lakes, many islands, and so on. As Izuku arrived back at Tokyo, Japan. So, this is what I've missed, huh? As Izuku looked up to see a giant amount of wind pressure coming out of nowhere. Huh? Izuku looked over as the wind pressure went past him, as Izuku just tanked it like a true man. As Izuku was walking through, just looking at something, but he didn't know what it would be. As Izuku would have just been walking through some random streets until he came across two girls being overtook by one giant behemoth of a man. Huh. That seems a little rapey, Izuku said. But this man could seem like a good fight, Izuku said with a toothy grin. As Izuku said, "Oi, what do you think you're doing?" As the man looked back at Izuku. "Well, what do you think? I'm trying to get directions." "Well, not from my angle, it doesn't. You want to fight?" Izuku said. "Well, seems like you've got some aura to you, buddy, don't you?" he said. As Izuku said this with exact words. "Well, I am the world's strongest man, who is quirkless after all." As the massive behemoth would have just started laughing at Izuku. "Don't make me laugh. I'm about to break your legs," the man said. As Izuku charged at the man with spear not in hand. Izuku punching the man in the stomach, sending him flying into a building, breaking the man in the entire stomach, ripping it in half. As the man coughed up blood. "Wow, you're weak," Izuku said. As the big behemoth of a man just stared back at him. "You think that's all I got?" As the man just grew in size to massive proportions, taking off into a skyscraper form. "Now this is gonna be fun," Izuku said with a toothy grin. As Izuku jumped from building to building. "Eat this!" As Izuku pulled out his giant katanic blade. As Izuku said, "Heaven slice!" As Izuku's giant gamut hammer, well, at least it looked like it at first, slammed down onto the man, breaking him in two, slicing him all the way through, as the skies above were shattered, as Izuku pulled his hand back, as his weapon started to dissipate and disappear into thin air. As the moment Izuku's weapon disappeared, the man's body started to split in two, as one half fell onto the ground unheard of, as the other half would have landed on a building, breaking all the windows in the process of that. Looks like I went out too far, Izuku said. "You think?" the man shouted out loud, as the man went straight up to Izuku's height. "Excuse me, but you have to go into custody," the man said. Excuse me, who are you?" "I'm the number 3 hero, Hawks. It's nice to meet you, but we're gonna have to go. You're gonna be charged with murder to the 1st degree." "I'm sorry, but that's not happening," Izuku said, as before Hawks could even mutter a word or even say anything else, Izuku just disappeared from the field of view of Hawks' vision. "What the hell?" Hawks said, as Hawks tried to reach out further to see where this guy was, using his feathers to try and track the kid's location. "He's disappeared," Hawks said, as the last couple of months until the UA entrance exam arrived, as Izuku would have just been traveling around, finding a place to stay, finding a little motel area that was cleaned out but still run down. "This is gonna have to do now for my base of operations," Izuku said, as Izuku just sat down and rested for the rest of the day until the final day of the entrance exam arrived. So, this was my dream, huh? Pray to God there's some strong heroes here. The villain I fought I killed. I am now on the wanted list, so better make this count, Izuku said. As Izuku walked into this entrance exam, as Izuku was being stared at by most of the actual students and even heroes alike. As Izuku walked in and sat down next to Bakugo like cannon, as Bakugo stared forward to see a hulking behemoth right at the side of him. Excuse me, mister, but you're not allowed to be here, Bakugo said. Let's do a little bit of background check on Bakugo's life, shall we? Since Izuku left, Bakugo's mental capacity has changed entirely. Since his auntie Inko's died, Bakugo's been less arrogant and more fast forward, being more engaging with people instead of just shouting and saying, "Oh, get out my way now!" Basically not that. Basically Bakugo's being a lot nicer person, as everyone would have been chatting to themselves until President Mike came in. "Okay everybody, this is what you're gonna do," as he explained like canon, as he just stood up from his chair. "I'm sorry, but I can't handle this little thing right here," as he pointed over to Izuku. Excuse me, I'm 15 years of age, and my quirk makes me look like this," Izuku said, lying for his teeth. "Oh, sorry then," he just said, as he sat back down looking like an idiot. As the main portion of the actual entrance exam arose with the bots and fighting, Izuku got a little bit less on the mental capacity thing, but he still got high enough to pass. As the actual fighting began, as Izuku got into its fighting stance and was ready to run. "Everyone ready? Go!" President Mike shouted like cannon, giving the same explanation, as Izuku rushed in, being blurred by everyone. As Izuku just stood there for a couple seconds until, "Excuse me kid, but why aren't you?" As Izuku just blitzed everything, destroying every robot right in front of him. As Izuku arrived at every single robot, gone in a millisecond time, as everyone in the observation room was just staring at Izuku. "What the hell?" most of the teachers were thinking. "Why the hell is this kid this strong?" As they looked through his medical record, seeing nothing there. This has to be a trick. There's no way in hell this kid doesn't have a medical record. As they looked deeper in to see nothing there. The hell? As they looked further and further as they saw nothing. As we come back to Izuku's point of view when he was little. "Young Midori, or was it? Or Izuku, your new name is Labra, or Labra, depending on, I can't remember his name like canon, sorry." As Izuku's new name was Lubra, as Izuku's point of view of date back to the actual main events. As Izuku was fighting the 0-pointer, and mostly all the heroes were shocked. The 3-pointer gun in a second, most people took a couple seconds to kill it, but Izuku, less than a second. This shocked them to the core, until Nezu said, "Okay, let's try his strength for the 0-pointer, as he said, releasing it, as this hulking behemoth of a man came walking out of the actual main events, Izuku hearing the stomach of the actual rumbling growl. As Izuku looked behind him to see a hulking behemoth of a robot. "Now this is a fight," Izuku said, smiling menacingly, as most of the heroes there felt the tension in between it. "Wonder if this is worthy," Izuku said. "Let's have a look then." Izuku blitzed everything and ran forward. As not much time passed later, the bot runned Izuku entirely over, until Izuku could hear a scream, "Help!" As Izuku looked at it, saying that before Izuku could even get run over at this point, sorry I recapped that bit, as Izuku looked over to see a young girl trapped in the rubble. "Oh, for God's sake, this is gonna be a pain," Izuku said. As Izuku went over and picked up the rubble from the little girl, or the girl, as the woman just said, "But you're a..." "Whoa," she thought, as Izuku picked her up from her shoulder and blitzed everything and traveled it back to Ida. Wait, what are you? That thing is huge, that's suicidal, Ida said, as Izuku just looked back at him and smirked. That's not even my full power, Izuku said. So, those people in our operation room want a little spectacle? Let's give them then. As Izuku opened his little pouch area and pulled a sheath out of the blade to reveal a lancing form of a lance. As most of the people in the operation room were shocked, thinking a kid was carrying a weapon this entire time. This kid's going to be disqualified if he's not careful, the teacher was thinking. As Izuku unsheathed his blade, pulling out something massive. As Izuku would have just pulled his arm back. You want to see power? This is power, Izuku said. Sky vanishing! Destruction! As Izuku shouted his special move. I know it's not the actual name, I do apologize. I will fix that very shortly. As Izuku's vanishing powered fist was shattering the Earth's core, shaking the buildings and glass shattering. As a couple of seconds passed, wind pressure came from his blade the moment it hit the ground, creating massive amounts of shockwaves, sending it through the clouds, making it more damaging than before. As most of the teachers in the operation room were shocked, until the 0-pointer was no more. It looked like it was destroyed. As Izuku looked back at his sword. Oh, not again. I really need to work on that, Izuku said, as Izuku picked up the rest of his belongings that he dropped on the floor from using his most powerfulest attack. As Izuku just started to slowly walk back to the exit until he was stopped by one of the main heroes of the actual people who watched in or actually paid attention, as this hero was President Mike. Excuse me, kid, but I didn't think I gave you permission to use a weapon in the entrance exam. We're gonna have to conduct a lot of points off you for literally using your weapon. As Izuku looked back at President Mike. How about this then? If you beat me in a fight, you take my points away. If I beat you in a fight, you keep all my points the way they are, and I get a free scholarship here. How about that? Izuku said. What? Hey, we can't do that, President Mike said, as someone small, tiny, and had fur all over him walked through. I see that as a good wager. Game on, then, Nezu said. So, who will be fighting then? Izuku said. You'll be fighting our #1 pro hero, All Might, Nezu said. Who the hell is All Might? Izuku said. Oh wow, you really have no medical records, don't you? All Might's basically our strongest hero. He's basically our strongest, Nezu said. Fine then. May your challenge be accepted, Izuku said. So, when will this begin? Izuku said. Around half an hour. Just wait around here and we'll come pick you up, Nezu said. Fine by me. As Izuku just waited in the lobby for 30 or 40 minutes until Nezu came back. Okay, Mr. Midoriya, this is All Might, the person you'll be fighting. Nezu pointed over at a big muscular man. He looks strong. Let's see if this backs it up then, what Nezu's been saying. Oh, this little ball of fluff, Izuku said, acting very dominant towards it. Let's just see then. As Izuku stood up on his feet from crouching down. Let's have a look at you then. As Izuku stood up, towering over All Might. You're taller. This should be a good fight then. All Might said, laughing like he normally does. So, where we'll be fighting? Here, or one of those little buildings that we did my entrance exam? One of the entrance exam buildings that we actually use quite on a regular basis every year, Nezu said. Okay then. How long would it take to go there? Around good 20 minutes, Nezu said as he looked back at All Might, as All Might gave him the okay, as this symbolized All Might only had 3 more hours until he had to debuff, so it's okay. as Nezu, All Might, and Izuku and a bunch of other pros came and actually watched and got into the fight. So, how long will this fight end? Is it to the death? Izuku said. No, it's not to the death. Jesus Christ, kid. How old are you? All Might said. I'm only 15, Izuku said. Okay then, this should be fine, All Might said, as All Might charged 20% of his fists. I'll just end the fight quick, as Nezu said. 3, 2, 1, begin! Nezu said, as All Might instantly rushed at Izuku, splitting out of the actual air, disappearing, as All Might reappeared behind Izuku, punching Izuku straight in the back, not even budging. What the? This kid didn't even budge against the 20%. Fine then, 50, All Might said, punching Izuku again. What the? As Izuku just said, is that all you got? As Izuku swung his arm back, smacking All Might square in the head, knocking him far back, as Izuku disappeared and hit All Might straight in the stomach, but on his good side, not his bad side. As Izuku swung All Might into the air, like what Gon did in his adult form. Weak, Izuku said. I'm even stronger than a #1 hero. Jesus Christ, why is people so weak? Izuku said. As All Might came rushing back down. Fine then, 100%. As All Might threw one mighty smash at Izuku's face. As Izuku just caught it with his jaw, throwing Izuku's head far back, but knocking it still forward. If you guys have seen what Goku did with he caught actually Frieza's fist and actually holded it there and just moved Frieza's fist back, yeah, that's basically it. As Izuku holded and forced All Might's fist back, breaking All Might's knuckle and hand. What the hell are you? I'm a quirkless boy, All Might. As Izuku punched All Might square in the face with his 50% power, making All Might knock out completely. As most of the pro heroes there came rushing down as they checked for All Might's pulse. What the hell? Who are you? One of the teachers said. I'm a 15-year-old boy that is looking for strong opponents. Who else do you think I am? What's your name, kid? My name's Lubu Kibokaila Madoria, and I will be the strongest quirkless person than there'll ever be, Izuku said. Wait, you're quirkless? There's no way in hell. As before they can finish their sentence, Recovery Girl came through the corner. Yes, he's quirkless. I took a little bit of DNA sample from him from the actual test. He is in fact quirkless. His original name is Izuku Midoriya. His mom died in an accident with her head being beheaded. As Izuku just turned around to her. Excuse me, little one, but who are you? Izuku said, I'm one of the healers of here. I'm also the one who healed that bastard over there you just knocked clean out with one punch. Oh, him? You sure that's All Might? #1 strongest hero? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the weakest hero, Izuku said. No, he's the strongest, believe it or not. I think you're just way too strong, she said. As Izuku's mind went, I'm too strong. As Izuku just shouted, ah! I'm too strong! Fuck! Izuku said. Wait, you're too... Isn't that a good thing? No, it's a bad thing! That means no one's gonna be strong enough to fight me! Fuck! Izuku said out loud. How about this then? If you want strong people, then why don't you become a teacher in UA for sports or training purposes? Recovery Girl said. So I can train people to become as strong as me. Fine by me, Izuku said. So, how much should I be getting paid? Wait, you're going straight for it? You haven't even accepted yet. I don't care. Tell me how much I'm getting paid for it. You're getting paid, 400,000 yen? She said. As Izuku said, so it's 279,290. Yeah, I'm fine with that, Izuku said. As Izuku grabbed his katana that he had spare from waiting outside and just walked off back home. As Izuku arrived home on the foresty areas, as Izuku just laid down and fell asleep, As a week went by, as the acceptance letters went out, but Izuku's didn't, because Nezu already accepted Izuku there and then into the high school. As Izuku arrived there into Little 1 classes and waited for everyone to arrive. As Aizawa just told Izuku what he will be doing, as Izuku accepted it and just waited around for a little while longer until all the classes came in. As Izuku just stood up from his chair and went straight to the podium. As Izuku jabbed his hand onto the desk, almost breaking it. "So, you little brats! Everyone get onto your little costumes and meet me outside now," Izuku said, shouting at them. "But sir, what about already shut up and get outside now, before I chuck you out of the goddamn window," Izuku said. As they all arrived outside with their actual attire on. As Izuku told all the class to actually show him what they're made of, as Izuku called Bakugo straight up to the stand. "So, Katsuki Bakugo, is it?" "Oh god, throw this goddamn ball and get away with it," Deku said. Bakugo railed his arm back and threw the ball as hard as he could. As the explosion went off, letting boom. As Izuku looked over to see the monitor, 705 meters. Fucking terrible. "Bakugo, back to the line now. Everyone else, get into your ready. You're going to be doing these tests." As every single person did their tests like canon, with every single result coming out like it would normally. With Momoyarozu first, Shota second, and so on and so forth. Everyone would have got the same score. As Izuku would have told everyone to go back to class. But before that, some brown-haired girl walked up to Izuku and asked him a question. "Excuse me, sir, but aren't you the person who saved me in the entrance exam?" she said innocently. "Yeah, I am. Who are you?" Izuku said. I'm the girl who you saved me," she said. "Oh, cool. Now go get ready. Your next class with All Might is next," Izuku said. Wait, All Might? Wait, All Might's gonna be our teacher for the next class? How cool!" she said, smiling. "It's not that cool. You're being taught by a moron. Just get to your classes now," Izuku said, acting like Aizawa. "Holy shit, I sound like him," Izuku said. As they all arrived to their next classes, as everything would have gone like canon, but instead of Ochako being alone, she would have had at least Todoroki on her team to make this evened out a little bit. As Todoroki would have freezed the entire actual main area of their battle training arc, basically. So, Uraka's team wins. As for the next step, the class representative and everything, Izuku would have picked it automatically. Seeing Specky Four Eyes and Ponytail to front now, Izuku said. "You're now the president and vice rep of this goddamn class." As Izuku said that, their English teacher, President Mike, walked into the room. "Yo, Mike," Izuku said, as Mike shivered. Yes, Lulu? You'll be teaching this class next, aren't you?" "Get into some goddamn suit, would you?" Izuku said. "You look like a fucking moron wearing that at school type of uniform," Izuku said. "But this is my hero attire. I just can't take it off." "Does I look like I'm joking?" Izuku said. As Prison Mike would have agreed on that, but he still wouldn't take it off. As Izuku and everyone else would have had their same interactions on the bus, with most of the students wondering what Izuku's true power and motives were. "Excuse me, Mr. Lubru, what is your quirk?" "Oh, I don't have one," he said. "Wait, you don't have a quirk? Then how are you a teacher?" "Well, I'm stronger than All Might, so of course I'm a fucking teacher here. I beat him in a fight, and, well, now I'm a goddamn thing of this," Izuku said. "Oh, that seems a bit boring. There's no way in hell you can defeat All Might. He's the strongest." "Say that to him when next time you meet him, and then tell him Luvru sent you to actually this principal's office to tell him and gloat that I beat you," Izuku said. As they all arrived at the main areas of the USJ, as everything would have gone the same until the villains attacked. "Finally a fight," Izuku said as he cracked his neck and arms. "Aizawa, get all the students out here now." "Luvaru, stop. Just wait until the heroes arrive." As before he could finish that sentence, Izuku would have jumped straight into the fray, knocking out and almost killing some of the villains that were down there. "God, these are weak," Izuku said. "Come on, is that all you got, you filthy cooking villains?" Izuku said, being cocky as everything else. As until a portal opened, revealing a black form of man. As Izuku said, "Finally a fight!" Izuku said, smiling throughout. As before the Nomu could even attack once, Izuku charged right at it. But Izuku almost got stopped halfway through his punch. "Nomu, go out and kill it! He's a monster!" Shigaraki said. As Izuku threw one punch at the Nomu, being collided with its fist, breaking the Nomu's arm entirely. "What the? I thought it just had shock absorption," Shigaraki said. "Young master, we need to get out of here now while we still have the chance," Kirigiri said. As before they could escape, Luvaru or Izuku would have just grabbed his arm, pulling him towards him. "Where do you think you're going?" Izuku said, pulling the man towards him, punching him square in the face, knocking him fully out unconscious, almost killing him. As Izuku would have just traveled to the Nomu, throwing it right at the USJ without even trying. As Izuku said, "Oh, I'm so bored," Izuku said, getting bored and bored by the second, losing his excitement to fight. As Izuku would actually travel back to UA, as Izuku would have explained to them that he needs a stronger opponent. Izuku can't handle just sitting here every single day, just waiting to get stronger. He needs an opponent now, or he'll just die of boredom, Izuku said. As Izuku would have just traveled back and forth in between different schools at this point, because UA is not giving him the actual fight he wants. As Izuku would find martial arts upon martial artists would actually try and give him fights, but nothing. "Why is no one giving me a good fight?" Izuku said. The Forts Festival would have come around at this point, as Izuku would actually look at them, seeing anyone who is actually worthy of teaching his martial art ways and actually becoming stronger than him. "No one's here," Izuku said. Shit. "Why isn't there anyone good to fight?" Izuku said. As Izuku saw one person that caught his interest. "Who is that?" Izuku said. As Izuku kept his eye on this very person for the rest of the day. As this person looked over at Izuku. "Excuse me, but is there something wrong?" the white-haired woman said. "Yes, there is." "How strong are you?" Izuku said. "I'm strong? I don't understand that. I'm one of the top 5 heroes." "So, let's see how strong you really are then." "Nezu, is it possible for you to actually host a main event for this?" Izuku said. Why?" "I want to give them a show," Izuku said. "So, who are you going to be fighting?" "Mirko," Izuku said. "Why would you be fighting the number 5 hero? You're stronger than All Might, Izuku." "It's a test. What do you think it is? She seems very interesting to me. So, deal or no deal?" You get more people to watch, which equals more students." "Deal," Nezu said, almost instantly. "Knew it, you money-hungry bastard," Izuku said. As Izuku's rest of the day was getting prepared Mirko for her actual fight with Izuku, as Nezu put an announcement at the final bows and the Sports Festival actual medal arena. "Okay, everybody, make sure you stay seated. We're going to have a special event," All Might said, streaming down the mic. What sort of special event was it be? All the people around the arena was thinking. "We're having one of our strongest teachers fight the number 5 hero Mirko." As everyone, jaws dropped. Wait, a strongest teacher? Isn't he the strongest? Well, he's All Might. He's meant to be. All the people were thinking. "This person beat me in a one-on-one fight, and I feel like If he fights Mirko, she would probably lose. And I've probably betted quite a lot of money on it as well. I shouldn't have, but I did, All Might said. As All Might and everyone else would have just gone back and sat back down at their seats. As Izuku and Mirko both walked onto the stage and got into their fighting positions. With Izuku, he got into his normal stance, standing there completely still. As for Mirko, she got into a rabbit bouncing position. As the moment President Mike said 3, 2, 1, go, this wasn't mental. As Mirko jumped at Izuku, punching furious punches at Izuku. Izuku just felt like they were ticklish punches. Is that all you've got? Izuku said. Wait, those are probably 50%. Here's my 100, she said, knocking him on the neck. Seriously, is this it? Izuku said. As Izuku just punched Mirko, knocking her back quite a hefty feat. How are you? Well, I was the one who defeated All Might. Are you done playing games? Izuku said. Fine then, here's my strongest punch, she said, kicking her leg back, punching at Izuku's head. Thank you all for indulging yourself in my video thus far. If you guys actually want to see another part of this, or another an hour special, or almost an hour, or you know what I mean, of course. If you guys actually want to see this another part, get this video to 300 likes, and you guys get another movie of this. I really enjoy doing videos like this, and I hope to bring some more out into the future. Daily uploading can be a stressful thing, so I try and upload shorter videos to try and do longer ones at the night time. So that's why I sound a little bit quieter when I do like videos and everything now. And also, if you guys actually don't mind subscribing, that would be highly appreciated. It's free, easy to use. You guys can unsubscribe at any time. Recently, we're getting really close to 2,000 subscribers. If you guys can help me out with that, that'd be highly appreciated. Without further ado, without holding you back, see you all in a little bit. See you in it.